Good morning, everyone. The time of this video that I'm recording is approximately 7:20, 7:25. It is December 18th, 2025, and this is Walking Dirt Roads with Donna. And the reason I'm out here so early is, I normally do my videos between 9 and 10, maybe 11, but today they're talking about rain, and as you can see, it's already kind of, did something through the night anyways. But I really needed to get out here and do this video. I should have done a video sooner, but anyways, we know how life goes even when you're really not going anywhere. But the update on the van is that it is fixed now. It was the alternator. But real quick, let me tell you how everything just worked out, according to God's plan, not mine. Because if we were to go with the original plan that me and my husband had, we would have got the battery, went to mom's, took care of that stuff, and then we would have went to a different store to get a tire, and then get on Highway 10, and then the alternator would have went out somewhere between Lake Maumelle and Perryville. And if you know anything about that area, that stretch of Highway 10, there's really nothing there. And we would have been out in the middle of nowhere. And yeah, that just would not have been good. But what God had in plan was we go to another store to get the tire, which, but when we got the tire and then we was getting back up onto Highway 10, that's when the power on the van started to go down again. And so I put the van in a church parking lot that was right there at the intersection of Highway 10, Cantrell, and Rodney Parham. And so that's where the van sat for a week. Well, so me and my husband, we ended up having to stay the night that Sunday night because nobody was available to take us home. There was no stores available in the state that's going to work on a, vehicle at, 9 o'clock at night. And, but that's okay because a friend of mine brought us some blankets so that we could at least, wrap up and kind of, try to stay warm. Monday morning, my daughter-in-law came and picked us up, brought us home. We were able to take care of the dogs and cats. So then next was a friend of mine, sent us some funds to get the alternator. We had the alternator delivered on Wednesday, but we still had to wait until Friday to get back to Little Rock. And of course, throughout the week, my brother was, checking on the van, making sure nobody was messing with it and what have you, but everything was good. So then we get back down there on Friday, and my husband, he, has to, take out a bunch of stuff and what have you to be able to get to the alternator. And it took him approximately 6 to 8 hours, I think. Anyways, so got the alternator put in, and then another friend of mine had to come out to give us a, jump to get everything started, and then everything's going good. So, everything worked out great. And then we finally got the van home at, we got home at about midnight or 1 Saturday morning. So everything's running good with the van. Next week, Christmas week, one of those days I'm going to go out to another location and do a video and talk a little bit about Christmas and what have you, and maybe some other family updates, because there has been some events that's happened, but I don't have the clearance to advertise the news and all of that. So, but that's okay. I can wait. But yeah, and so next thing is that I've actually been awake since approximately 3:30, because our dog Bear had a possum in his pen. And so Bear, my bear, he is blind, and so he was just going completely nuts in his pen because there was an intruder. you know he wanted that possum so bad, but he couldn't find it, but he could smell it, and he kept trying to get it. But the possum was under his house, because the way we got the doghouse in there, it's set up on bricks, a little bit, off the ground a bit. So, anyways, Bear was not able to get under the house, but the possum was under the house. So I had to go out and get Bear out of the pen, so then my husband could get the shovel and move the house around, and then get that possum and toss him over the fence and finally get him out. So, anyways, that is, it's been a while since we've had possums come up to the, dog pens. So I guess some of them's learned their lesson. But like I said, it's been a while. It is extra cloudy. That's supposed to rain later on today. I don't know how long or how heavy or anything. But the next thing is that I am making awesome progress on some of my sewing projects, getting a lot of crumbs used up, and I'm going to make some extra large star blocks with the crumb blocks. And after I get a few of those put together, I'll probably, do a quick video to show off my work there. But anyways, so I think that about covers it. Yeah. Oh, also, on December 31st, I'm going to do a video like I did last year. That's going to, honor and memorialize, so to speak, friends and family members, and, whoever, has, passed away this past year. If you would like your family member, your friend, your, whatever connection to that person, if you would like for that person to be on the list that I've already got started of those that I knew, those that I had a connection with, then feel free to, comment the name of the person that you would like on that list. You know, it's difficult when loved ones are, is no longer with us and what have you, and I understand that. But I think I just want to finish out the year, memorializing and remembering the good times, even the bad times. I mean, if there was, some sort of, really hard event that happened between you and that person, don't, I would say don't necessarily sit on that and just dwell on it, camp there, don't. But it is okay to remember, some of the trials that you've been through, some of the, upheavals that, you and that person was, through. And, remember just how you made it through. Remember the lessons that are learned in those events and, apply those lessons to your life now. And, of course, remember all the great times, the times that you, got together and, just had a good time sitting at the coffee house, having a, very in-depth conversation and laughing or whatever. So, just comment those names and, I'll get them added onto my list. So, yeah, I think that's about it. But, we've got the van rolling, we've got a new tire, we've got a new battery, got a new alternator. All I can say on that is, just thank you, Jesus. Because, if it was, like I said, if it was according to our plan, then, yeah, we'd probably still be sitting out there because, I don't know, it's just, it's just, to me, it's just remarkable how the way I wanted it to be ended up being the way that God wanted it, and the way that God had it turned out a lot better. So, anyways, if you're anywhere around in Arkansas, yeah, be prepared. It might rain. I think that's about it. So, y'all have a great day. Take it easy, be careful, and whenever you get a chance, go out and find a dirt road. Talk to you later. Bye.